Welcome to Chapter 5, DataFrame Structure Methods. So in this chapter, we're going to be changing the structure of our data frame, which means that we're going to be adding and dropping rows and columns. We'll also learn how to rename rows and columns. All right, so let's get started here with adding a single column to the data frame. It's going to be pretty simple. The generic syntax is as follows. You have your data frame name, then just the brackets, then the name of your new column as a string. We're going to use the assignment statement and then some expression over here. This just means we're going to put something over here that creates a new column. All right, let's see how this is done. I'm going to read in the college data set and then select these 6 columns over here and assign it to CS. The full college data set is college. This is CS. I'm only going to use the first 3 rows. This is just so I can demonstrate how these work. Now, there is actually a better way of reading in a data set over here, the same exact data set. What this does is it'll read in the entire data set at once and then select the columns and the rows. So what we can do here, there's some options in read CSV. There's a couple of options over here. There's the use calls parameter. So set that equal to the list of columns you want to read in. And then n rows, just set that equal to the number of rows you want to read in. So this is a little bit neater way of reading this in, and it's going to be a little bit faster as well. All right, so we have CS, and what we're going to do is we're going to come up with a SAT total column. So we have just the SAT math and verbal, so the total is just the sum of those. We're going to just create a new column like this. This is how you select a single column. Notice that it does not exist right now. So if you try to access it, you will get an error. So instead, we're going to create it with an assignment statement. So you just use an assignment statement. There's no method here that, well, there are methods that create a new column, but this is one done without a method, is with an assignment statement. And here we will simply add the verbal and math scores together. So this creates a series, and we'll assign it to this new column SAT total. And when I look at CS, Pandas will by default always place this new column at the end. That's how you create a new column. You can also create a new column by assigning it to a scalar value. So scalar is just a single value. It could be a number, it could be a date, it could be a string, it could be any number of data types. So here I'm just going to say, I'm going to create a new column called sumVal. It'll go at the end. All the values will equal 99. So Pandas, what I'm showing you, has some flexibility on how it creates these new columns. All right, so we can overwrite an existing column. Let's just say the UGDS. What we can do here is we can increase the UGDS by 10%, and maybe we want to round this to the nearest integer so it doesn't give fractions. And let's just output it here. So here's the new UGDS total. You can see it's increased by about 10%. That's what I did here. And I reassigned it to itself. So I've overwrote an existing column. Another way of doing this is to create a new column from a NumPy array. So if you know NumPy, I'm just going to create some random values here. Say a random integer from 0 to 100. And the size will just be the length of the data frame. So here we have just 3. Our data frame is 3 in length. Right. So the way this works is you give it a low and a high number and then the size. So if you create a new column from an array, the array has to be the same size. It means the same number of rows as the data frame, or else it won't work. We'll just call this random integer column like this. And then we'll look at CS. So there is our random integer. If we keep running this, it'll just keep overriding this with new random numbers. If we choose a length that's not the same length as the data frame, so say we want it to be length 50, well, we're going to get an error over here. So it's 3 in length, not 50 in length. Okay. All right. So that's how you create a new column in a Pandas data frame.